In the gallery of galactic evil, two portraits hang largest. The twisted, hooded figure of Emperor Palpatine, a master of dark sorcery and political manipulation, and the black, armored silhouette of Darth Vader, a force of nature who could choke the life from you with a thought. They are the faces of fear, brute force, and cosmic power. But the Empire had another weapon, a weapon far more subtle and in some ways far more terrifying. He had no force powers. He carried no lightsaber. His threat was a cold, calculating intellect that could dissect entire civilizations and predict their every move. He was an alien, an outsider with piercing red eyes and blue skin, who rose to the highest rank in a xenophobic empire for one reason: he never, ever lost. His name was Grand Admiral Thrawn, and today we're exploring the 5 victories that prove he wasn't just a commander. He was the most brilliant military genius the galaxy has ever known. Coming in at number 5 is a battle that perfectly demonstrates his unique, almost unsettling method. The Battle of Baton. The Empire was losing. A fanatical, well-entrenched militia was driving the Imperial forces into the ground. The local commander was panicking. Then, Thrawn arrived. He didn't ask for troop deployments or munitions reports. He asked for the enemy's art. His subordinates were baffled. As his fleet was being hammered, Thrawn was calmly studying paintings and sculptures made by the very people killing his soldiers. He noticed a pattern. Their art was abstract, chaotic, almost formless, except for one recurring, precise geometric shape that was always hidden within the chaos. It was a symbol of their most sacred religious icon. He realized their entire culture, their entire psychology, was built on a foundation of hidden order beneath apparent chaos. They fought the same way. They looked like a disorganized mob, but they were following a strict, hidden battle plan. So Thrawn gave a bizarre order. He told his forces to perform a sloppy, chaotic, and seemingly pointless retreat. It looked like a rout. The enemy, seeing what they perceived as total disorder, abandoned their own rigid plan to chase down the fleeing Imperials, hungry for a final, glorious victory. And they ran straight into a perfectly laid trap. Thrawn had mirrored their deepest cultural instinct back at them, and they couldn't resist it. He didn't just defeat their army. He defeated their culture. At number 4, we see Thrawn turn a simple tool into an instrument of planetary conquest: the Siege of Ukio. The planet of Ukio was a major agricultural world, a breadbasket for the new Republic. Taking it would be a massive blow, but it was heavily defended by a powerful planetary shield and a dedicated fleet. A direct assault would be costly, bloody, and likely a failure. Thrawn didn't even try. Instead, he brought his fleet just to the edge of the system and did something truly strange. He used a handful of cloaked ships to move a group of large, worthless asteroids into orbit around the planet. Then, he simply started talking. He broadcast a message to the planet's government, informing them that his star destroyers had surrounded their world and that he was about to begin his bombardment. The Ukians laughed. Their sensors showed nothing. It was an obvious bluff. Then, Thrawn's cloaked ships began to fire, not at the planet, but at the asteroids. From the planet's surface, all the Ukians could see were massive, ship-sized explosions blooming in their upper atmosphere, exactly where a besieging fleet would be. Their sensors were telling them there was nothing there, but their eyes were showing them a terrifying orbital bombardment. Panic erupted. The government, convinced their sensors were being jammed and that they were doomed, surrendered their entire planet without Thrawn firing a single shot at them. He conquered a world with nothing but rocks and fear. This brings us to number 3, the Battle of Aalin. This is where Thrawn's genius becomes almost surgical. A large rebel cell, led by a brilliant commander named Hera Syndulla, was hiding at a secret base on the planet Aalin. The base was protected by a powerful, localized shield generator. Thrawn's fleet arrived, but he couldn't land troops, and a simple bombardment would be useless against the shield. The rebels were safe. They just had to wait him out. Thrawn, however, wasn't interested in breaking the shield. He was interested in the person controlling it. He ordered a full orbital bombardment, not on the base, but in a massive, sweeping pattern across the entire planet. To his officers, it was a waste of ammunition. But Thrawn was watching the shield. Every time a turbo laser blast got close to the base, the shield would flicker as it absorbed the energy. He wasn't trying to destroy the base. He was using the bombardment to map the shield's operational limits. By tracking exactly where the shield was strongest and how it reacted to threats, he was able to triangulate the precise location of the shield generator, and by extension, the rebel command center. He turned their greatest defense into a homing beacon that pointed directly at his target. The rebels thought their shield was a wall. For Thrawn, it was a window. For our number 2 spot, we have one of his most audacious and legendary gambits: the acquisition of the cloaking device. After the Emperor's death, the Imperial fleet was in tatters. Thrawn knew he needed a game-changing advantage. He learned of a secret research facility on the planet Marker that housed a working prototype of a cloaking device. The problem? It was guarded by the New Republic. Thrawn's plan was a masterclass in misdirection. He sent a small diversionary force to attack a completely different system, knowing the New Republic would pull ships from Mirkor to respond. Then, under the cover of that distraction, he used a species of force-repelling creatures called Isalamiri to create a bubble where the Jedi couldn't sense him. He landed his troops, fought his way into the facility, and stole the device. But here's the genius part. He didn't just take it. He immediately used it to blockade the entire planet of Coruscant, the New Republic capital, with a fleet of cloaked asteroids. He created an invisible siege, strangling the new government and proving that even with a fraction of the resources, his mind alone was enough to bring the galaxy to its knees once more. But the number 1 victory, the one that cemented his name in military history, wasn't a single battle. It was a signature tactic, a move so brilliant, so counterintuitive, it was named after him: the Thrawn Pincer, or the Marg Sable maneuver. The concept is deceptively simple. In a space battle, ships concentrate their fire on the biggest threat. Thrawn used this to his advantage. He would take one of his own ships, often a smaller one, and send it directly at the enemy fleet, guns blazing. It was a suicide run. The enemy, seeing this lone, aggressive ship, would instinctively focus all of their firepower on it. It was the logical thing to do. But as their weapons were trained on this one sacrificial lamb, the rest of Thrawn's fleet, which had been hiding in the chaos, would sweep in from the flanks, firing on the now defenseless enemy ships whose weapons were all pointed the wrong way. He used his own ship as bait, turning his opponent's tactical logic into their greatest vulnerability. It was a move that required perfect timing, icy nerve, and a profound understanding of enemy psychology. Thrawn wasn't a monster of rage or a wielder of cosmic power. He was something far more unnerving. He was proof that a mind, armed with knowledge and a complete lack of sentiment, could be the most devastating weapon in the universe. He saw war not as a clash of armies, but as a canvas. and on that canvas, he painted masterpieces of destruction.